So I'm making this video because I realize that a lot of Mormon members of the LDS Church are unaware of the Protect LDS Children campaign. It's very imperative that all members and all people, but I'm emphasizing the members in this video because I recognize and I realize that a lot of LDS members do not know what is happening right now regarding policies that are being enacted and that have been enacted for a long time by the general authorities in the Mormon Church, and they are unaware of activism that is taking place to protect LDS children from being abused because of the policies that are being enacted and that are being condoned and being ignored by the members. Yes, and also by members that know about this and condone this, but also by the leadership at the top of the church who are enforcing this policy and being complicit in these policies. So I just want to inform the members on my Facebook, and please bear with me because this is hard for me to talk about, but I'm going to try to do my best to make this as educational as possible. A little over a year ago, a devout, faithful Mormon bishop named SamYoung started petitioning to end one-on-one interviews with minors behind closed doors and to stop all sexually explicit questions and narratives that take place in interviews with LDS leadership. I cannot say enough about SamYoung and the light that springs forth from his eyes and his face, and I can tell that his heart is so enveloped in a true Christ-like energy. He truly wants nothing but the best for children and the members of the church. He wants nothing but to help stop all the abuses that have manifested as a result of the policy that has been created by the leadership of the LDS Church. I just recently found out, and I'm devastated that I missed it, that he did a 23-day fast. He went on a hunger strike in downtown Salt Lake as a protest, as a form of activism, as a form of speaking up and in behalf of children who have come forward and shared their story as either adults now that have shared their stories from what happened to them as children, and also minors today who have come forward, and families who have come forward to share that their children have committed suicide because of the policies that the church is enacting, because of the shaming that is taking place in these interviews. Many people have come forward to report rape that happened behind closed doors with the leadership in the LDS Church. They have reported molestation, victim blaming. Countless stories of women being blamed for their rape, for sexual abuse that happened to them because the bishops are not trained and other leadership in the church are not trained on how to deal with sexual abuse and victims and survivors of sexual abuse. Again, I just want to reiterate, families have come forward reporting their children who have committed suicide because of the shaming and the guilt that gets instilled in children and teenagers and even adults. Because of the worthiness, the nature of the worthiness interviews that are conducted. People are reporting the feelings and the damage that has taken place by being interrogated by a bishop at a very young age, or somebody in a position of leadership, asking them sexually explicit questions. Countless have reported the trauma that has been inflicted on them, that has made a lifelong impact on them and their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health and well-being. Sam Young and his team of supporters have collected, I believe it was close to, if not 2,000 stories that came forward reporting what had happened to these individuals behind closed doors and what has happened to them as a result of these traumas, how they have suffered their whole lives because of the policy of one-on-one interviews with a minor behind closed doors and sexually explicit questions, and the probing and the victim blaming and shaming of LDS leadership and their lack of training on how to respond to a survivor of sexual abuse. And I'm so sorry if I've left another thing out. This is very emotional for me to talk about, but I've named a few. I've named a few categories of reports that have been made. And for every story that came forward, I can tell you there's another 10,000 more that didn't. There's people that, and I'm one of them, that it's been so painful for me to even to face what happened to me, that when I went to share my story and submit it to Protect LDS Children, the LDS Children website, I wasn't even able to do it at this point in time, but I am going to share my story when I'm ready. So Sam Young and his ambassadors presented these stories to the leadership of the church, of the LDS church, and Sam has worked and campaigned and petitioned and worked to raise awareness around what has happened as a result of the members of the LDS Church's policy, excuse me. And when he presented these stories to the general authorities, they have released a pathetic statement saying that, and I'm going to read it from the handbook. It's from their handbook, from their manual, Protecting Against Misunderstandings. That is an insult, because this is not about misunderstandings. This is about protecting against sexual predators, protecting against children being harmed by dangerous people whom members are conditioned to trust. And I understand that members have been taught to trust these men, but please question that paradigm. You cannot leave your children behind closed doors with somebody that you don't know. Please protect your children. But I'm going to read this real quick. When a member of a bishopric or stake presidency or assigned leader meets with a child, youth, or woman, he or she should ask a parent or another adult to be in an adjoining room, so a room connected to that room, not in the same room, foyer or hall. If the person being interviewed desires another adult, if the person being interviewed desires, another adult may be present during the interview. So I really want to focus on how they said, if the child desires, another adult may be present during the interview. Now, what I want to read to you, now that I've read you that released statement from their handbook, I want to read you a quote from Dallin Oaks. He's a member of the First Presidency of the Church. He said, "Children are highly vulnerable. They have little or no power to protect or provide for themselves, and little influence on so much that is vital to their well-being. Children need others to speak for them, and they need decision makers who put their well-being ahead of selfish adult interests." When thousands of people have come forward to report to the leadership of the church, standing behind activist Sam Young, to report what has been going on, how children have been being harmed, how children have committed suicide, how children have been raped, molested, shamed, and guilted into self-harm and considering suicide, and the leadership releases a statement that says, if the child desires, another adult may be present. Within another breath, within a recent breath, they said, children are highly vulnerable. They have little or no power to protect or provide for themselves, and little influence on so much that is vital to their well-being. Children need others to speak for them, and they need decision makers who put their well-being ahead of selfish adult interests. You guys, this is sickening. This is hypocrisy. This is not okay. I need the members who are watching, LDS, devout LDS members on my Facebook, to use their reasoning faculties and connect the dots of reason, to look at this information, to get informed, to go to the website protectldschildren.org. They have a Facebook page. I want to ask you how you feel about your leadership in one statement saying that we need to protect children at all costs, and that they don't have the ability to make decisions for themselves, that they don't have the ability to protect themselves. But when they're presented with criticism, loving criticism from a beautiful man, from beautiful people, from beautiful ambassadors that are approaching them with love, They spit in their faces and act like this isn't a concern, like this isn't a widespread epidemic of trauma and lifelong pain and sorrow. Please, members, please look into this. Please, tomorrow is a press conference is being held at noon in Salt Lake, across the street from Temple Square, where, and I can't remember now if I've even mentioned this in my video because I'm so overrun with emotion, but Sam Young was called into a disciplinary council, and he's being punished for speaking up in behalf of LDS children. He's being punished for trying to protect your children by your leadership. He is the only member that has been called into a disciplinary council who was not given his verdict at the end of his council because there was so much media coverage outside the church building where he was. The church did not want the verdict covered by the media, but they don't get to have it their way, because tomorrow there's going to be a lot of people there to support Sam when he opens his letter that has the verdict, if he's going to be excommunicated, officially excommunicated or not. But I want to say, whether he's excommunicated or not, it's unacceptable that he was called into a disciplinary council to have his worthiness assessed for speaking up in behalf of children and adults and everyone who has suffered and been abused and violated in unspeakable ways because of the church's policy. So I invite you to come. I invite you to be there. I invite you to get informed and to be brave enough to face the truth of this. And I know it's hard when you believe so strongly in something and you have information coming at you like this. And it's painful, and it's traumatic, and it's terrifying. But it's time that we all truly embody what it means to be Christ-like and truly be and act like the social justice warrior that Christ was.